Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Better Call Saul React and Review. I'm Greg, this is Q, together with Mr. Happy 0121. Today's episode 5 of Season 1, Alpine Sheperd Boy. Yes, I had to read that because it doesn't really roll off the tongue.
What is Alpine?
Alpine?
That's a very random question. Sorry to throw you off track here. But
yeah, you really did. I'll go for it though. An Alpine is like mountainous. He was a little Swiss boy with a little hat on and whatnot.
Oh.
Interesting fact. The original name for this episode was going to be Jello.
Jello. Oh, because they're in the...
Yeah. But it's not. We're going with Alpine Sheperd Boy. We're not going with it. They went with it. The first 45 minutes of this show we're going to kind of blow through. Literally. Not a lot happened. At about the 30-minute mark, I looked over at you and said, before this episode ends, they're going to do something.
That's true. And
they did, and they set up the next episode, the second half of the season, nicely with the very last 10 minutes of this. So, here we go. The episode differed from the first 4 in that there was no flashback. We picked up literally where the last episode left off, $5 bill under a rock. Chuck getting his door kicked in by the police.
That's right.
Hauled off to jail.
Did he get his gasoline seized, too?
I felt he did because the police went around and looked. That was what they used as probable cause. They saw his lantern fuel in the back along with all the wires in the house pulled out.
A lot of lantern fuel. Like and a suspicious amount of lantern fuel.
Well, to the police, yeah, I could see maybe. When at the end of the episode, when he went back there to get the blanket, Jimmy, there was no fuel. So they swiped his fuel. Gotta love the police.
He shouldn't take guff from those swine.
Well, the voltage from him getting shocked kind of knocked that out of him.
That's a good point.
I took it from the story sync, which we use, that he was electrocuted or, what do you call it? Tasered? Don't tase me, bro. They didn't really show that on camera, but yeah, he was tasered, and they made mention of it. The episode starts, the police kick in the door, he's tasered, and drug off to jail, or so we thought. They really didn't follow up on that for a minute. We went right into Saul, out in the middle of nowhere on a gigantic ranch, speaking with Richard, Sipes, or Ricky. The reason I'm going to go ahead and run through this list of characters, I have a feeling we may hear from Ricky again.
You think so?
Ricky's a very rich man that wanted to secede from the Union with his 1,100 acres.
And his money with his face on it.
Yes, he went to pay Saul his half of the $1 million to take the case, and it was all Ricky money.
That's right.
Had Ricky faces on it. Nothing really to add on that. It was just some quirky business they went through. Again, though, I believe we will see Ricky again at some point. Ricky seems like the kind of guy, maybe on the news or in the distance, you'll hear about a Waco-type situation with some crazy guy bundled into his house fighting the government.
Oh.
Next, we go to Roland J. Cox with his talking toilet. As soon as we saw this guy come on camera, I told you there was going to be something off about this guy. He looked too normal. He had the talking toilet in the best line of the toilet was, "Fill me up, Chandler."
Just can't make this stuff up.
No. But I kind of saw this coming as soon as we saw the toilet. I just somehow knew it wasn't going to be right. I don't think we're going to see Roland J. Cox again with his non-disclosure agreement. And really, after the "Fill me up, Chandler" comment, I'm good.
Good, you don't need to see him again.
I don't need to see any more Mr. Cox. Next, we go to the grandma. I don't know that she was ever named in the episode. Maybe she was.
Was she the same grandma that called the cops on
No. Just a very similar grandma. She had the...
How do you know she's even a grandma?
Because...
Yeah. Got really sassy there for a second, I'm sorry.
It's a generalization, but B,
apologize.
she did talk specifically about her grandkids. But yes... I didn't think of it, but I did call her a grandma because, it was a generalization. What are those damn animals you can't feed after midnight?
Gremlins.
She had the gremlins chair. She came down the staircase with the gremlins chair. That's the only thing I ever think about when I see one of those chairs.
I've never seen one of those in real life before, in any store. I've just seen them in movies.
I have not either.
Do they exist?
In my travels far and wide, I have never saw one of those legit installed in someone's house. Only in movies. The reason we're talking about gremlins in the chair is there's nothing really to add here other than 2 things. We get to see the Alpine Sheperd Boy, for which the episode is named after. Saul got his $140 from Grandma.
That's right.
She scrupulously paid him, and it plants the seed for him to do old person law, or elder law, as the case goes. Very quick jump. Saul is giving, not a pedicure, he's doing his girlfriend's nails when she gets the call that Chuck is in trouble. See, we're just blowing right through this to get to the end.
That's right.
Chuck is in the hospital, being seen by a doctor, and Chuck and his girl. At which point, this is a little off track, but the doctor used the phrase, "I understand your frustration." As someone that has worked in customer service, whenever someone tells you that they understand your frustration, what they're really saying is, fuck you. I understand your frustration equals fuck you.
Oh.
As someone that says, I
good to
understand your frustration 4 or 5 times a day to de-escalate a situation, one more time, what I'm really saying is, fuck you. So if you ever hear that phrase, that's what it means. When you call someone in customer service and you're just, and they really can't do anything to help you, they understand your frustration. But you don't understand theirs at having to listen to you bitch about something they can't help.
Wow.
So there you
That
go.
really hit close to home.
Breaking barriers. This will be the first time we don't edit the FU out of the video. Stay in.
That you don't edit. I don't do much editing.
He doesn't do any editing. So it's staying put. So anyway, while she was de-escalating the situation by empathizing, by understanding frustration, the doctor pushed the button on the bed. You pointed that out to me because I was furiously writing all this down.
She was distracting him and asking him about his fuel source for his lanterns, and she, So I guess it's confirmed that it's a mental thing, not a...
It is very much a mental thing. Chuck is a psychopath.
Chuck's a spaz.
At this point, the doctor kind of shows Jimmy that Chuck is crazy by pointing to the bed and that, because she was using the key phrase in empathizing, she distracted him from turning on the bed. That's the other thing. Remember, when you hear, I understand your frustration, it means, and it's distracting you from what's really going on.
That's right.
We don't really understand your frustration because we're not you. It's true. I hate that phrase. But at times, I love to say it because I know that I'm supposed to say it, and I know it's not working, so I really love to say it just to piss people off further. I understand your frustration. Anyway, all of this took place at 10:27 p.m. at night. Why I felt the need to know that, I just did. I like to pay attention to little things for no reason. Before he left the hospital, Jimmy was very strongly pushed to commit Chuck for 30 days into the nut house to try to get him fixed. I don't know. They said there was no rubber walls. I don't know. Maybe in treatment. I don't know. Something. Maybe some of that Britney Spears where they took her away a couple times and had her committed.
They did?
Yeah, this happened. You got to do a little research on Britney Spears. Interesting.
I guess.
But Jimmy was never going to do it. He ran into Hamlin in the hall and made Hamlin sweat that he was going to do it. This shows that Jimmy still has principles because if he would have committed Chuck, he would have had the power of attorney to get him bought out and get all those millions of dollars away from Hamlin, but he didn't do it. It's interesting because I think that later on Saul Goodman would have definitely done it. Or maybe he wouldn't have. Maybe Jimmy's one of the few people that Saul wouldn't screw over. Or Chuck is one of the few people that Jimmy wouldn't screw over.
Yeah.
Any input on any of that?
No, not really. I thought it was really clever what the nurse did. You know,
Yes.
it's all scripted, but,
Well, you know. And for the life of me, I can't find that actress on IMDb, but I have seen her in, a lot of things. She's like another one of those people that they pull that's a step above a character actor. That maybe even...
Oh, like Bill Burr.
Yeah, Bill Burr. World famous Bill Burr. Beloved by 4 people.
Everyone knows who Bill Burr is. Get out of here. I'm serious.
Okay. Back to the... This is not the Bill Burr show. God, I hope he never makes a guest appearance on here. We flash to Chuck being at home, and before the scene ended, I looked at you, and it was on the story sync as well, asked, is Chuck manipulating Jimmy? Because it sure seems that Chuck's condition worsens anytime Jimmy's screwing up.
Or maybe it's like a mental thing. Like he's not dealing...
Not doing it on purpose?
No, he's not dealing with the situation like a rational person would. So his little illness works up.
Works up. It sure seemed... and it sure seemed that the minute that Jimmy eased Chuck's mind, off comes the blanket, he's going to make some breakfast. Or coffee, as the case may be. So I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I think that Chuck is trying to manipulate Jimmy. All right. Last little bit, we flash over to Jimmy studying Matlock. And in case it wasn't made clear, I believe it was made abundantly clear, he was studying Matlock on how to appeal to old people because old people love Matlock. At least Family Guy seems to believe so, and several other shows.
I've never seen Matlock, so...
It's Andy Griffith. Remember Andy Griffith? I've never seen Andy Griffith. You are aware of the man Andy Griffith?
No, I don't think so.
Andy from Mayberry. Barney Fife.
Oh, yeah, from that show, yeah.
The Andy Griffith Show? Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, they put a suit on him and had him play a lawyer. Basically, he played Andy Griffith in a suit.
That's funny.
It was. I don't know. You know what? I think I've seen bits and pieces of Matlock. Usually when I go to visit elderly people, they have it on. But I've never watched an entire episode, so I can't really...
Is it on Netflix?
Maybe.
It's a loss of it.
I would never look for it on Netflix, so I don't know. He goes to the old folks' home at this point and uses his newfound Matlock smarts to work the room, shaking hands, kissing babies, except the babies are like 90 years old, making friends, giving out Jell-O with his face on the bottom. That's pretty much the end of Jimmy for the episode. We see him interact with Mike just long enough to switch us over to Mike for the last 10 minutes. Him and Mike have a little friendly conversation for once. It wasn't strained. It wasn't a lot of anger. So that was a good sign.
That is.
Then we get to the final 10 minutes. Not even the final 10, maybe the final 5. We see Mike work the night shift at his booth.
Which he's just sitting there.
Not go home. He goes to the Loyola Diner. Scene of many, many famous Breaking Bad eating a meal, talking to people scenes.
That's right.
Has been seen earlier this season already, with Jimmy having a meeting there. Then we go to Mike's home. And, nope. Then we go to Mike stalking a woman. Now, here's who I thought it was immediately. I looked at you and said he's stalking his daughter for some reason.
Which would make sense.
Woman comes out of the house, locks eyes with him, and then very slowly drives away, locking eyes with him the whole time. I'm about to give you a huge spoiler, so if you don't know who this woman is, then don't go any further if you don't want to know. Because, due to research and Breaking Bad knowledge, we're going to, let that out in a moment. I thought it was his estranged daughter because in the Breaking Bad, it's shown that he has a very good relationship with his granddaughter, but the parent is really out of the picture. There's nothing to be made there. Doing a little research, and I don't remember the specific information from Breaking Bad, but he is the father of his granddaughter's father. Yeah, boy, I went the long way of saying that. Mike had a son. He got married to the woman that Mike's staring at in the driveway. His son got killed, and so apparently Mike and his daughter-in-law have a bad relationship. That's who it is. The woman he was staring at, in a very long-winded way of saying it, was his daughter-in-law. Or ex-daughter-in-law, I guess, because, his son is dead. Cut to Mike's sitting at home watching a black and white TV, leading an existence very similar to the one that we saw Saul leading at the very first of the episode.
He lives in a nice, small, empty house.
Lonely home, black and white TV. Although we don't know that Saul was watching black and white because everything was black and white, but I think there's some parallels there. They could have put a color show on. I think it was kind of the thought process that the drab existence Saul was living at the very beginning of the show is very similar to what Mike is going through now.
Nice connection to draw there.
Working in a booth, eating alone, staring menacingly at someone going home to watch black and white TV by himself. So yeah. Then what happens? Knock at the door. Police. We're led to believe that the police are from Philadelphia, or Philly, as the case may be, because they say that they've come from a long way away, and the show ends. It looks like Mike's in trouble. My first thought when the knock came at the door, I told you I thought that Mike probably has a restraining order against him for that house and the menacing way he was staring at his ex-daughter-in-law, and that she called the police. That's my thought. But my thought kind of got blown up by the fact that the police came from Philly and not from local. I thought this was going to go fairly quick, but apparently there was a lot to get through. So
Right.
we'll kind of rush through a couple things right at the end. What grade would you give this episode?
Well, you know, it was the end. The end was pretty good. The end was getting serious. A B. You know, it wasn't.
I give this episode a B minus. I feel it
B
was the
minus?
weakest episode of the season, but being the 5th episode, it was kind of a placeholder to get you to the next part of the season. B minus. When compared with the other episodes, the first 2 episodes to my mind were A plus.
A plus, yeah.
So on that scale, I give this a B minus. Question of the day. We even do them here, people, for those of you that watch our other stuff. What Breaking Bad character, or what character from that universe, do you most want to see show up next? Out of everybody, who would you have on Better Call Saul next?
Bug done.
Really?
No. It'd be really cool to see Hank.
Hank. He's the one person that has said that he'll never do this show, I believe. But hey, that's who you want to see. That's the question. It wasn't what does Hank want to do. It was who do you want to see. I'm going for the easy money. I want to see Gus Fring. That's who I want to see.
Demanding.
Gus was so quiet and there was so little backstory given on him that I think that they could bring him in and let him run the entire rest of this series in one form or another.
Really.
And it wouldn't hurt anything.
Oh, they could also kind of show you, like, you know, how he built up the empire and whatnot.
Exactly right, because, you know, when we first see Mike, he's working for Saul, and it's kind of slowly revealed. At the same time, if you pay attention and read up, he was already working for Gus even then. So there could be a whole lot of backstory. To my mind, and I'm sure you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, Saul and Gus never really had much interaction on Breaking Bad, but that doesn't mean they didn't know each other in some form or another.
Yeah.
So you could totally play that in a lot of ways. So Gus is the guy I want to see next. Yeah, I want to see Walter White, but he can come later.
Yeah.
We'll get to him.
We've already saw a whole series.
Yeah, we've got a whole series
Yeah.
of Walter White. He'll be all right. It'll be good. You got anything to add?
No, it was a pretty good show. The next episode, though, after this, episode 6, looks like it's going to be probably one of the best or the most gripping of the season.
And it looks like, in one form or another, Jimmy's going to represent Mike as his lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. Let us know if there's anything you want to have us do as question of the day in regards to this show. And until next time, thanks for watching.